Mr. Hayes, I need you to review something immediately. The footage from the device you asked me to monitor. There's activity you need to see. Right now. I was sitting in a boardroom on the 43rd floor of the TD Tower in downtown Toronto, surrounded by lawyers and executives finalizing a merger worth $600 million. My phone was on silent, but I'd set one contact to break through. When Sarah Chen's name flashed on my screen, my stomach dropped. Sarah was the security analyst I'd hired privately 3 weeks ago. She only called for one reason. I excused myself and stepped into the hallway. What is it? Mr. Hayes, I'm looking at the live feed right now. Your mother-in-law is in the room with Lily. I think you need to see this yourself, but I can tell you it's concerning. Very concerning. My hands went cold. Send me the link. Already in your email. Mr. Hayes, I've been doing this for 15 years. Whatever you're going to see, prepare yourself. I opened the encrypted link on my phone. The footage was crystal clear. Too clear. I watched for 30 seconds before I had to look away. Then I watched it again because I needed to be absolutely certain of what I was seeing before I did what I was about to do. Catherine Beaumont, my daughter's mother-in-law, had my 6-year-old granddaughter Lily backed into a corner of what looked like a study. Lily was standing with her arms raised above her head, holding what appeared to be heavy books in each hand. Her little face was red and streaked with tears. As I watched, she lowered her arms slightly, and Catherine slapped her across the face hard enough that Lily's head snapped to the side. Keep them up. A proper young lady maintains perfect posture. I could hear Lily's sobbing through the audio. My arms hurt. Grandmama, please, I need my puffer. You'll get your inhaler when you learn to behave properly. Stand up straight. I watched my granddaughter struggle to raise the books again, her small chest heaving as she tried to catch her breath. Lily had asthma. She needed that inhaler. I walked back into the boardroom. 12 people looked up at me expectantly. We'd been negotiating this deal for 8 months. My signature was the last one needed. Gentlemen, ladies, I apologize, but I need to leave. There's a family emergency. Jeffrey Morrison, the CEO across the table, frowned. Robert, we're literally 10 minutes from signing. Can't this wait? No. I'm sorry. It can't. This is a $600 million deal. I understand that, Jeff. But my granddaughter needs me right now. My lawyer has full authority to sign on my behalf if you need to proceed, but I'm leaving. I was in my car 7 minutes later, heading north on the 401. Vancouver Island was 3 hours away if I drove fast and traffic cooperated. I called my lawyer, James Chen, who'd been my roommate at UBC 40 years ago. Robert, what happened? Morrison just called me furious. I need you to do 3 things, James. First, get me the name of the best family lawyer in Victoria. Second, call Dr. Sarah Mitchell at Sick Kids and ask her to prepare any documentation related to Lily's injuries from the past 6 months. Third, contact Child Protective Services in Victoria and tell them I'm filing a report of ongoing abuse and I have video evidence. There was a pause. Jesus, Robert, are you sure? I'm looking at footage of Catherine Beaumont forcing Lily to stand with her arms raised, holding books, for what looks like hours based on the timestamp. She slapped her. She's withholding Lily's asthma inhaler as punishment. Where's Jennifer? That's what I need to find out. I'd known something was wrong for months. My daughter Jennifer had married Ryan Beaumont 3 years ago, 2 years after my wife Margaret died from breast cancer. Jennifer and I had always been close. We'd gotten through Margaret's death together, just the 2 of us. When she met Ryan at a charity fundraiser in Vancouver, I was happy for her. He seemed like a good man, quiet, thoughtful. An architect at his family's firm. The wedding was at the Beaumont estate on Vancouver Island. Old money. The kind of wealth that didn't need to be flashy because everyone already knew. Catherine Beaumont had planned every detail of that wedding. Jennifer had wanted something small and intimate. She got a 300-person affair with an orchestra and champagne fountains. I should have seen the signs then. When Lily was born, Catherine took over. You work such long hours, dear. Let me hire the nanny. I know the best agency. The nanny lasted 3 months before Jennifer fired her for being too strict. Catherine hired another one without asking. Jennifer gave up trying to fight. When Lily turned 3, Catherine insisted she attend a specific preschool. All the Beaumont children have gone to Oak Ridge Academy. It's tradition. Never mind that it was an hour's drive from Jennifer and Ryan's house in Victoria. Catherine arranged for a car service. By the time Lily was 5, I barely recognized my daughter. Jennifer had always been confident, opinionated, sometimes stubborn like her mother. Now, she was quiet, deferential. Whenever I visited, she'd check her phone constantly. Mother wants to know what time we'll be there for dinner. Mother thinks Lily should start piano lessons. Mother says, Lily changed too. She'd been a bubbly, talkative child. Then she got quiet. She flinched when people raised their voices. I noticed bruises. Jennifer had explanations. She fell at the playground. She ran into the coffee table. She's so clumsy lately. 3 weeks ago, Lily spent the weekend with me in Toronto. On Saturday morning, I heard her crying in the bathroom. When I knocked, she wouldn't open the door. Sweetheart, what's wrong? I forgot to fold my nightgown. Grandmama's going to be so angry. Lily, you're at my house. Grandmama isn't here, but she always knows. She always finds out. That afternoon, while Lily was napping, I went to a specialty electronics store. I explained what I needed. The young man behind the counter showed me a small camera disguised as a button. It had a battery life of 30 hours and connected to a secure server. Parents use these for nanny monitoring, he said. The video quality is excellent. I sewed it into Lily's favorite stuffed rabbit, the one she took everywhere. It sat right between the rabbit's eyes, almost invisible unless you knew it was there. Lily, I fixed Mr. Hop's eye for you. It was coming loose. Thank you, Grandpa. She hugged the rabbit tight. I hired Sarah Chen 2 days later. I need someone to monitor a video feed. I can't explain everything, but I believe my granddaughter is being harmed, and I need evidence. I understand. I'll watch the feed during the hours you specify. If I see anything concerning, I'll contact you immediately. Now, driving north with my hands gripped tight on the steering wheel, I called Sarah back. How long has this been going on? The footage you sent me was from just now, but has there been other activity? Mr. Hayes, I've been flagging incidents for 3 weeks. I've sent you 17 separate video files. Haven't you been checking your email? My blood went cold. What email address? She read it back to me. I'd given her my work email, the one I barely checked because my assistant filtered everything. Jesus Christ. I'd missed 3 weeks of evidence because of an email mistake. Send everything to my personal email. Every file you have. What else has happened? The standing punishment happens almost daily. Sometimes for an hour, sometimes longer. There was an incident 5 days ago where she locked Lily in a closet for 3 hours. Yesterday, she made Lily write lines. I watched your granddaughter write, I will not disappoint my family 500 times. Her hand was shaking by the end. Has my daughter been present for any of this? There was a long pause. Yes, Mr. Hayes. Several times. That hit harder than I expected. And what did she do? Mostly she watched. Twice she told Lily to do as her grandmother said. Once Lily called out for her mother, and your daughter left the room. I had to pull over. I sat in my car on the shoulder of the highway and tried to breathe. Jennifer, my Jennifer. The little girl who'd cried when her goldfish died. Who'd volunteered at an animal shelter every weekend in high school. Who'd chosen social work as her career because she wanted to help people. How had this happened? I thought about the past 3 years. Catherine's increasing involvement in Jennifer and Ryan's life. The way Jennifer had slowly stopped making decisions. The medication Jennifer had mentioned last Christmas. Just something for anxiety. Mother's doctor prescribed it. Postpartum depression. Jennifer had struggled after Lily was born. She'd mentioned feeling overwhelmed, inadequate. I'd suggested therapy. I'm fine, Dad. Mother's been helping so much. I don't know what I'd do without her. Catherine hadn't been helping. She'd been taking over. And somewhere along the way, she'd convinced my daughter that her way was the only way. That Lily needed to be corrected. That this was normal. I pulled back onto the highway. 2 hours and 40 minutes to go. I called the family lawyer James had recommended. Melissa Torres answered on the second ring. Mr. Hayes, James Chen briefed me. I'm going to be direct. What you're describing is serious criminal child abuse. The fact that it's being perpetrated by a wealthy, prominent family makes it more complicated, but not impossible. I need you to not confront anyone until we have CPS involved and the evidence secured. I'm not letting my granddaughter spend one more night in that house. I understand. But if you remove her without proper procedure, Catherine Beaumont will claim parental alienation and kidnapping. Jennifer is Lily's mother. She has primary custody. We need to do this right. Jennifer has been letting this happen, which is why we need CPS to document everything. I'm calling the regional office now. They're sending someone to meet you at the Beaumont estate. Do not go inside without them. Do you understand? Yes. And Mr. Hayes? James told me you're a good man, but I need you to stay calm when you get there. For Lily's sake. The rest of the drive was a blur. I kept checking my phone for updates from Sarah. At 3:45 p.m., she sent me a new clip. Catherine had given Lily her inhaler, but made her do breathing exercises for 20 minutes first. Control your breathing properly, child. You're being dramatic. At 4:30, another clip. Lily was sitting at a desk, copying something from a book. Her handwriting was shaky. Catherine's sister, Margaret Beaumont, came into the room. How's the discipline going? She's learning. Finally, Jennifer was far too permissive. The child has no concept of proper behavior. Well, you raised Jennifer properly, and she turned out fine. This one will too. They spoke about Lily like she was a project, a problem to be solved. I pulled up to the Beaumont estate at 5:15 p.m. The house sat at the end of a long driveway, a sprawling Tudor-style mansion surrounded by manicured gardens. A CPS sedan was already parked outside. A woman in her 40s approached my car. Mr. Hayes? I'm Diane Foster with Child Protective Services. I understand you have evidence of ongoing abuse? I showed her the footage on my phone. I watched her face change as she processed what she was seeing. How recent is this? The most recent clip is from 45 minutes ago. And the child is still inside? Yes. My granddaughter Lily. She's 6. Is the child's mother present? I don't know. Probably. Diane nodded. I'm going to need to see all your evidence. But first, I need to see the child and assess her condition. You'll need to stay calm, Mr. Hayes. Let me handle this. We walked to the front door together. I rang the bell. A housekeeper answered. I'm here to see my daughter and granddaughter. The housekeeper looked uncertain. Mrs. Beaumont didn't mention you were coming. I don't need Catherine's permission to see my family. Diane stepped forward. Ma'am, I'm with Child Protective Services. We need to speak with Catherine Beaumont and Jennifer Hayes Beaumont immediately. And we need to see Lily. The housekeeper's eyes widened. I'll get Mrs. Beaumont. We waited in the foyer. The house was exactly as I remembered from my previous visits. Expensive art on the walls. Fresh flowers in crystal vases. Everything perfect. Everything controlled. Catherine appeared at the top of the stairs. She was wearing a cream-colored suit, perfectly pressed. Her expression was one of polite confusion. Robert, what an unexpected visit. And you've brought... Who? I'm Diane Foster with CPS. We need to discuss your granddaughter Lily's welfare. Catherine's expression didn't change, but I saw her hand tighten on the banister. I'm afraid I don't understand. Lily is perfectly well. I'd like to see her, please. She's resting. She had a tiring day. Mrs. Beaumont, I can get a warrant if necessary. Or you can bring Lily here voluntarily. The mask slipped for just a second. Catherine's eyes went cold. Then the pleasant smile returned. Of course. I'll get her. She disappeared down the hallway. I heard a door open. Voices, too quiet to make out. Then Catherine returned with Lily. My granddaughter looked tiny next to Catherine's rigid posture. Lily's hair was pulled back so tightly it pulled at her temples. She was wearing a white dress that looked uncomfortable. When she saw me, her whole face changed. Grandpa. She ran to me and I caught her up in my arms. She was trembling. Are you okay, sweetheart? I want to go home with you. Please, Grandpa. I want to go home. Diane stepped forward gently. Lily, my name is Diane. I'm here to make sure you're safe. Can I ask you some questions? Lily nodded, her face buried against my shoulder. Lily, have you been hurt? A small nod. Can you show me where? Lily pushed up her sleeve. There were bruises on her upper arm in the distinct shape of fingers. She lifted the hem of her dress slightly. More bruises on her thighs. Diane's expression hardened. She turned to Catherine. Mrs. Beaumont, I'm removing Lily from this home immediately pending an investigation. Mr. Hayes has provided video evidence of abuse. Lily is clearly showing signs of physical harm. Where is Jennifer Hayes Beaumont? My daughter-in-law is upstairs. But I assure you, this is a misunderstanding. Children bruise easily. Lily is clumsy. Where did these bruises come from, Lily? Diane asked softly. Lily's voice was barely a whisper. Grandmama pinches me when I don't stand straight. And she grabbed my arm yesterday when I spilled water. You ungrateful child, Catherine started, then seemed to remember Diane was there. I mean, Lily has a tendency to exaggerate. I have video footage, I said quietly, from the past 3 weeks. Hours of it. I've watched you slap my granddaughter, force her to stand for hours holding books, withhold her asthma medication as punishment, lock her in closets. The footage is time-stamped and backed up on a secure server. Catherine's face went white, then red. You put a camera in my home? I put a camera in my granddaughter's stuffed rabbit because I knew something was wrong. And I was right. That's illegal. That's invasion of privacy, Diane interrupted. Actually, in British Columbia, if there's reasonable suspicion of child abuse, video evidence is admissible. Mrs. Beaumont, I need you to contact your son and daughter-in-law. We'll need to interview everyone in the household. I'm calling my lawyer. That's your right, but Lily is coming with Mr. Hayes tonight. Jennifer appeared in the doorway. She looked like she'd been crying. Dad? I stared at my daughter. The woman who'd once wanted to save the world. Who'd read every parenting book when she was pregnant. Who'd promised Margaret, on her deathbed, that she'd raise Lily with love and kindness. Jennifer. How could you? Dad, you don't understand. Mother knows what she's doing. Lily needs discipline. Discipline? I watched you. Watch Catherine slap your daughter across the face. I watched you leave the room when Lily begged you for help. That's not discipline. That's abuse. And you enabled it. Jennifer's face crumpled. You don't know what it's been like. After Lily was born, I couldn't think straight. Mother helped. She took care of everything. She said Lily needed structure, boundaries. That I was too permissive. That I'd ruin her if I didn't. So you let her hurt your daughter instead? I didn't. I didn't see it as hurt. Mother said it was necessary. That her mother raised her the same way, and she turned out fine. I looked at Catherine, at her rigid posture and controlled expression. Did you turn out fine, Catherine? Or did you turn into someone who thinks terrorizing a 6-year-old is acceptable? Something flickered across Catherine's face. For just a moment, I saw something beneath the carefully maintained exterior. Fear, maybe. Or recognition. Diane had her phone out. I'm calling for police backup. Mrs. Beaumont, you need to remain here. Jennifer, you too. Mr. Hayes, take Lily to your car. I'll come get your statement in a few minutes. I carried Lily outside. She clung to me the whole way, her small fingers twisted in my shirt. When we got to my car, I set her gently in the back seat and buckled her in. Am I in trouble, Grandpa? No, sweetheart. You're not in trouble. You didn't do anything wrong. Grandmama says I'm always doing things wrong. Grandmama is wrong. You're perfect, just as you are. Lily started crying then, deep sobs that shook her whole body. I held her while she cried, stroking her hair, telling her she was safe now, that I was here, that no one was going to hurt her again. Police arrived 20 minutes later. 2 officers went inside while Diane took my statement in my car. I showed her all the footage, all 17 clips Sarah had sent. She watched with an increasingly grim expression. Mr. Hayes, this is clear evidence of systematic abuse. The video shows escalating violence over a 3-week period. The fact that Jennifer was present and didn't intervene makes her complicit. We'll need to interview Lily, but not tonight. She's been through enough. Where will you be staying? I'll get a hotel in Victoria. I want to be close. That's fine. I'll need your contact information. Someone from our office will reach out tomorrow to schedule a forensic interview. We'll also need Lily examined by a pediatrician who specializes in abuse cases. An officer came out of the house. Ma'am, we need you inside. The sister, Margaret Beaumont, has been making statements. When Diane went in, I called James. It's done. CPS has removed Lily. They're talking to the family now. What happens next? Charges will be filed. Based on what you've described, Catherine will be charged with assault, child endangerment, possibly confinement. Jennifer might be charged as an accessory or with failure to protect. Ryan, too, if he knew. The sister might be charged if she participated. I need to make sure Lily never has to go back there. That's where Melissa comes in. She'll file for emergency custody on your behalf. Given the circumstances, you'll likely get it. But Robert, you need to prepare yourself. This is going to get ugly. The Beaumonts have money and connections. They'll fight. Let them. I have the truth. I stayed in the car with Lily. At some point, she fell asleep, exhausted from crying. I watched her sleep, her small face peaceful, for the first time in weeks, probably. My granddaughter. My responsibility now. Diane came back out an hour later. Mr. Hayes, you're free to go. We've taken statements from everyone. Catherine and Margaret Beaumont have both been arrested. They'll be processed tonight. Jennifer is being released, but she'll face charges. Ryan claims he didn't know the extent of what was happening. He works long hours, and Catherine had convinced him Lily was just going through a difficult phase. Do you believe him? I believe people see what they want to see. And I believe Jennifer was in a very vulnerable position that Catherine exploited. But that doesn't excuse what happened to Lily. What happens now? Emergency custody hearing tomorrow at 10 a.m. Be there, bring Melissa. And Mr. Hayes, what you did today, recognizing something was wrong and taking action, that saved your granddaughter. A lot of kids aren't that lucky. I drove to a hotel near the harbor. I carried Lily inside, still sleeping, and got us a room. When I laid her down on the bed, she woke up briefly. Grandpa, are we at your house? We're at a hotel, sweetheart. We'll go to my house in Toronto soon. But tonight we're staying here. Is Grandmama coming? No, she's not. Good. Lily curled up with Mr. Hops. I don't want to see her anymore. You don't have to. The emergency custody hearing the next morning was swift. The judge reviewed the video evidence, Diane's report, and the medical examination Lily had undergone early that morning. The doctor had found bruises in various stages of healing, marks on her wrists from being grabbed, and signs of prolonged stress. Mr. Hayes, I'm granting you temporary full custody of Lily pending the outcome of the criminal trial. Jennifer Hayes Beaumont will have supervised visitation only, at my discretion, and only after she completes a court-ordered psychological evaluation and parenting classes. Catherine and Margaret Beaumont are prohibited from any contact with the child. Jennifer was in the courtroom. She looked broken. When the judge announced the decision, she started to cry. Your Honor, please. She's my daughter. Mrs. Hayes Beaumont, you failed to protect your daughter from systematic abuse. You not only witnessed it, you participated. Until you can demonstrate that you understand the gravity of what occurred and that you're capable of putting Lily's welfare first, you will not have unsupervised access. That's my ruling. As we left the courthouse, Jennifer tried to approach us. Dad, please, I love her. I know I made mistakes, but I love her. I stopped. Lily was holding my hand, pressing close to my side. Jennifer, I know you love her. I know you're struggling. But right now, Lily needs to feel safe, and she doesn't feel safe around you. I can change. I'll get help. I'll do whatever it takes. Then do it. Get therapy. Figure out how Catherine convinced you that hurting your daughter was acceptable. Understand how you got to a place where you valued your mother-in-law's approval more than your child's well-being. And when you've done that work, really done it, we can talk about rebuilding trust. But Jennifer, Lily comes first now. Not you. Not your feelings. Lily, the trial was 3 months later. Catherine was charged with multiple counts of assault, child endangerment, and unlawful confinement. Margaret was charged as an accessory. Jennifer pled guilty to failure to protect and received probation and mandatory therapy. The prosecutor was a woman in her 50s named Helen Kwan. She showed the jury every piece of footage I had. She walked them through the escalating pattern of abuse. She brought in Lily's pediatrician, who testified about the injuries. She brought in a child psychologist, who testified about the psychological impact. Catherine's lawyer tried to paint her as a strict but loving grandmother, tried to suggest that I had manipulated the footage, that children bruise easily, that discipline was being confused with abuse. Then Helen put Ryan on the stand. Ryan, who had been living with the abuse without truly seeing it. Mr. Beaumont, did you know your mother was hitting Lily? I knew she believed in strict discipline. She'd raised me the same way. Did she hit you? Sometimes. When I misbehaved, and you thought this was normal? My mother said it made me successful. That I needed to be pushed. Mr. Beaumont, do you consider yourself successful? Yes. I have a good career, a family. Do you have a relationship with your mother based on love and mutual respect, or based on fear and obligation? Ryan was quiet for a long time. I don't know anymore. Helen turned to the jury. Catherine Beaumont didn't just abuse Lily. She abused her own son for years, and convinced him it was love. She did the same to Jennifer, exploiting her vulnerability after childbirth, slowly taking over until Jennifer didn't know how to think for herself anymore. This is a pattern of control and abuse spanning decades. And it ends now. The jury deliberated for 4 hours. They found Catherine guilty on all counts. Margaret guilty as an accessory. Catherine was sentenced to 8 years. Margaret to 3 years probation and 500 hours of community service. At the sentencing, the judge addressed Catherine directly. Mrs. Beaumont, you used your position of authority and your family's resources to systematically torture a child. You justified it as discipline, as helping her become a proper young lady. But what you were really doing was perpetuating a cycle of abuse that your own mother likely inflicted on you. That doesn't excuse your actions. Nothing excuses what you did. But I want you to understand that when you hurt Lily, you were hurting that little girl inside yourself who was taught that love comes with pain. 8 years in prison gives you time to think about that. Catherine stood rigidly, her face expressionless. But as they led her away, I saw her shoulders shake just once. That was 6 months ago. Lily lives with me now in Toronto. We're in therapy, both of us. She sees a play therapist twice a week who specializes in trauma. I see a counselor who helps me process the anger and guilt I feel about not recognizing what was happening sooner. Lily still has nightmares. She still flinches sometimes when people move too quickly. But she laughs now. Really laughs. Loud and joyful. She started first grade at a local school and made friends. Her teacher says she's bright, curious, and kind. Jennifer comes to visit every 2 weeks. Supervised visits at first, now moving toward unsupervised. She's in intensive therapy. She's been diagnosed with severe postpartum depression that was never properly treated, complicated by what her therapist calls coercive control from Catherine. The medication Catherine's doctor prescribed was wrong for her condition. She's on a different treatment plan now. Last month, during a visit, Jennifer and Lily were coloring together. Jennifer drew a picture of the 3 of us, me and her and Lily, holding hands. "This is my family," she said to Lily. "This is what matters." Lily looked at the picture for a long time. Then she added something, a small house with a garden. "This is where we live now, with Grandpa, where I'm safe." Jennifer started crying. "I'm so sorry, Lily. I'm so sorry I didn't keep you safe before." Lily patted her mother's hand. "It's okay, Mommy. Grandpa taught me that everyone makes mistakes. What matters is if you fix them. That's what we're doing now. Fixing it. It's slow work. Some days are harder than others. But we're doing it together." Ryan divorced Catherine's influence and is rebuilding his relationship with Lily too. He's in therapy, working through his own childhood trauma. He's starting to understand that the way he was raised wasn't normal or healthy. Last week, Lily asked me if she could join the school choir. "I want to sing, Grandpa. Grandmama never let me be loud, but I want to sing now." So she's in the choir. And yes, she's loud. And it's beautiful. If you're reading this and you recognize any part of this story in your own life, please know this. Abuse doesn't look like what we see in movies. Sometimes it looks like discipline. Sometimes it looks like high standards. Sometimes it wears expensive clothes and lives in a beautiful house and uses words like proper and tradition. But if someone is hurting a child, physically or emotionally, it's abuse. Full stop. It doesn't matter if they claim they're doing it out of love. It doesn't matter if they had it done to them. It doesn't matter how respected they are or how much money they have. Children deserve to feel safe. They deserve to grow up without fear. They deserve adults who protect them, not hurt them. If you suspect a child is being abused, speak up. Make the call. Save that child. Because I almost didn't. I almost talked myself out of it. I almost decided I was overreacting. Thank God I didn't. Thank God I trusted my instinct. Thank God I put that camera in Mr. Hops. Lily turned 7 last month. We had a party with her school friends. She wore a bright pink dress she picked out herself. She ate 2 pieces of cake. She ran around the park screaming with joy. At the end of the day, Exhausted and happy, she hugged me tight. Grandpa, I'm not scared anymore. Not like before. I'm glad, sweetheart. And Grandpa, I love you. I love you too, Lily. More than anything. That's what matters. Not the trial, or the verdict, or Catherine sitting in prison. What matters is that Lily is safe now, that she's healing, that she knows she's loved, and she's going to be okay. We both are.